Okay, this is Tuesday, 210. We're going to do an initial reading, a practice reading of the writings that I recently wrote. The idea is we're trying to do what they did in the movie Inception. I don't know if that's how it works. Might work a little better. I don't know, it's a little gloomy. Let's see how that works. Alright, so let's start at the top. Omni, this is Omni. We're doing a Gofundme campaign, which is called Heroes and Heroines, right? So, what do I bring to you? What's in it for you? What's in it for you to pay attention, to give up your time, your money, and your resources, right? What I bring is stories, entertainment, amusement. In the dark times, what we need are people who have the ability to raise our spirits to the highest high, right? In dark times, you need people. Doesn't matter what part of the full color spectrum you use, the color wheel, right? This is what we're using. This is the basis of what we're talking about. This is it right here, right? The color wheel. We're trying to use the color wheel in as many different formats as we can understand. Sound, electromagnetic spectrum, sound, light, hearing, smell, taste, touch, feelings, knowings, anything we can use to make the color wheel. That's what my name means, all. It means that I have to be including everything, right? So, what is my point? Today we're just gonna do an initial reading of what I wrote, right? It's in a format you're not used to dealing with, right? But what you got to keep in mind is that what I was initially trying to do was to find some way to create ultra heavenly paradise here on Earth. Which that's one of our jobs is not just species continuity. It is leaving the world a better place than when we entered it. Right. So you have from your first heartbeat to your last heartbeat, from your first breath to your last breath, to accomplish something with your life. For me, that's to be an omniversal representative of the color wheel. That's one way to put it, right? And how do we do that? Well, for me, I thought that the idea would be to conceive of exactly what they were doing in Inception. You wanna seed an idea. So the idea, the end game was ultra heavenly paradise. It's a place for hedonists, right? It's essentially I've been taught, that there's a negative connotation to that. Our conversation will always do, whenever I meet with you, it will always have to do with the three principles of life and death and rebirth and resurrection, which is negatives, neutrals, and positives, right? That's what we're dealing with on a daily basis, 24 hours a day, in some format. Each one of us, at least those of us who are in the continuum, the space-time continuum, we deal with in the past, in the present, and the future, all throughout the here and now, the eternal here and now. We deal with negatives, neutrals, and positives. In my mind, I thought, if we're going to seed an idea about ultra heavenly paradise, to me, that was all about, it was all about positives. But there's nowhere you can go in a zillion dimensions omniverse where there is not something to find, where there's not negatives, neutrals, and positives, right? So we're always dealing with that full spectrum, right? Negatives, neutrals, and positives, okay? So in my mind, I was thinking, ultra heavenly paradise, that's like people who have had near-death experiences have said that they have gone to these afterlife places and said, one Christian said, I went to heaven, and what I experienced was a place that was all light. There was no darkness there in heaven. The description was scrumptious. You can find it on YouTube. There's a video of it on YouTube. But her description moved me. I thought, is she going to somehow be able to describe a story that's realistic enough to me that I can conceive somewhere in my consciousness that I have been transported to heaven? Because it really is just a state. It's a state of mind. It's a state of consciousness. And so it's a vibrational frequency. If you think about the electromagnetic spectrum, which is made up of negatives, neutrals, and positives, what you're thinking about is you're just designing keywords and key codes that represent whatever your end game is. If the end game is ultra heavenly paradise, right? You're thinking about this, thinking about an amalgamation of these imaginary realms: Eden, paradise, El Dorado, Asgard, where else? Utopia, Entopia. These things are conceptions of the mind. They're places we believe ourselves into, or we believe ourselves outside of. We can exclude ourselves from it, or we can place ourselves inside of that, right? So if you're going to seed an idea, you want to seed a belief, and you want to choose that. If you have a chosen end game, I'm saying ultra heavenly paradise. Look at the definition of ultra, right? Essentially, you're talking about something that is beyond the extraordinary, something above and beyond, over the top, right? You're reaching to the furthest degree. You think about it as a dial on a radio. On the volume, you're going from 0 all the way up to 10, right? That's as far as you can go, as far as your speakers can actually handle. You can think of yourself as like the speaker. You can turn the speaker all the way up for a certain amount of time, and then it has a lifespan, right? Or generally they do in a finite areas, but. So, think about ultra, think about heavenly, think about paradise, right? Those are concepts that I'm crunching together and trying to put into some story format that I can convince myself through these wavelengths that are created through keywords, through sounds, through emotion, through emoting properly, that we would be able to alter reality, alter our reality, alter our perception of reality so that we feel, doesn't matter where we happen to be, whether we're, doesn't matter where we are. Any placement that you can have a coordinate, you can convince yourself that you're perceiving that place through the negatives, the neutrals, and the positives as whatever it is you want it to. So if we're aiming at ultra heavenly paradise, we're thinking about, how about I'll just begin the reading, and then, I'll look at it, and then I'll, come back and I'll do a rereading. But here's a rough cut of that idea of inception, right? Can the omniverse guide me to successfully accomplish my divine life's purpose? To achieve my chief aim, to complete my end game? Yes. Definitively, decisively, yes. Right? We're in the definitive, decisive, crucial moment of our lives in history, right? You can coordinate your destiny. You can choose your own destiny. Let's think about this. I'm thinking about Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich. I don't know if you've read the book, but it's phenomenal. It's a short book. Change your whole freaking life, right? So in it, he describes you're conceiving of what we consider to be a money consciousness declaration. Here's mine. By Victory Day in August of the year 2022, we're talking about 2 years hence, I will have in my possession $50 million, which will come to me in various amounts from time to time in the interim. In return for this money, I will give the most efficient service of which I am capable, rendering the fullest possible quantity and the best possible quality service in the capacity of songwriter, performing artist, and dream designer. Because we got to remember, that's what we're talking about in terms of inception. I'm taking you into a zone. I'm calling it the zillionth dimension, right? In the zillionth dimension, you're forgetting about time. You're forgetting about space. You're thinking about timelessness and spacelessness. Call it the void, call it nothingness, but somewhere in this nothingness, in this here and now moment, that's what we're talking about. I'm designing something and permeating our minds, our consciousness with an idea, right? I believe that I will have this money in my possession. My faith is so strong that I can now see this money before my eyes. I can touch it with my hands. It is now awaiting transfer to me in the time and in the proportion that I deliver the services that I intend to render in return for it. I am awaiting a plan by which to accumulate this money, and I will follow that plan when it is received. So this was written, I'm thinking maybe a year or something ago. And so I began listening to that. I began reading that each day. That's what he talks about. If you have an idea for your end game, you're aiming at your destiny. You want to see the idea at the beginning of the day. You know, when you're still in bed, and you're thinking about life. You're remembering your dreams. You know, in your dreams, you're thinking about, like, when you wake up from your dreams, you go to your emotion. What did you feel during your dreams? That'll help you replay what it is that you experienced. So you're laying in bed and you have this end game in mind. So you conceive of this idea and you affirm that idea at the beginning of the day before even meeting any other people or speaking to any other people. You see that idea, whatever that idea is. Mine was ultra naturally pleased, ultra supremacy, right? I'm thinking about the furthest degree that you could possibly go in terms of vibrational frequencies, right? That's it. Everything is a wave of vibrations. Everything is a wave of vibrations, right? So, and you also want to plant that idea at the end of the day. So you go through your day, you've started the day out with a destination, right? The destination is to get to that frequency vibration that you chose. Something you could state that you could put on something that's no bigger than a business card, right? You want to have a chief aim in your life. That's what he talks about in terms of if you have some riches. Let's think about it as riches are not just money. Riches are anything that you value. It's if you value your time, if you value your friends, if you value your relationships. These are things that you value, and these are riches. Anything, sight, hearing, smell. These things are, if you have them and you own them, then these are riches, right? So if you have a chief aim in your life, an end game at which you are aiming each day, you want to tell yourself in some format, some succinct way of conveying that message to yourself at the beginning of the day. In the middle of the day would be awesome too, and at the end of the day, right? So my chief aim I chose back in the day when I first read the book was the divination of humanity, which means a divination or the deification of humanity, which means at the time I was thinking that each of us had the divine spark within us. That meant that we were our own god, we were our own goddess, right? And if I were going to have a purpose in life, it would be to be going around reflecting or being in the ultra model of that idea. The ultra model, the avatar of the idea of deification, of making a god out of you, making a goddess out of you, right? Namaste, this greeting and this farewell that people use, I think, in India, means the divine spark within me greets or salutes or bids farewell to the divine spark within you. That divine spark, some people call it the Holy Spirit, some people call it Chi, some people call it Prana. It's the force. You can call it whatever you want. God, Goddess, Chi, Prana, Ki. Doesn't really matter. It's whatever you choose. All right. So mine was, and I thought this is probably inconceivable. People who are religious and they believe, in an external God or, someone that they have to go through an intermediary, they probably would have a problem with that. But that's what I'm about. A great story is about changing emotional worldviews, mental worldviews, spiritual worldviews, and physical worldviews. The whole thing has to evolve. All right. You're going to evolve on every single level. You're going to be transformed by this new worldview. That's why when people become reborn spiritually, they often take new names because it's a representation of this new frequency, this new vibration, this new wavelength, right? So yeah, I understand that idea was probably a phenomenal idea that was not going to catch on, depending on what country you're in. If you spoke that kind of thing, it's blasphemy. You could be beheaded, you could all sorts of horrible things, you could be in hell. But since I live in America and I have all this abundance of resources, I consider myself a zillionaire. What does that mean? That means I have unlimited wealth. I consider all this stuff of the moment to be my wealth. As long as I live in the here and now and I'm in the present, the sky, I've been given everything. The whole color wheel is mine, right? So I was thinking I could travel around and I could deify these people. I was creating these little crafts, cards and stuff, and handing out, goddess signs, God and goddess signs, and I tried it in a bunch of different formats as I was going along. I was a model at RISD for a long time, for 14 years, so I learned a lot about design, concept, design, execution. So we're aiming at our end game. I was thinking about the deification of humanity, right? So everything, all these seeded ideas were really aiming at that chief aim. It is transformed over time. And in the present, we're going to say that, I was thinking about what Einstein said. He said that most of us were only utilizing between 8% and 12% of our brain's capacity. I was like, that's unbelievable. That means we have 88% of our potential that we are not tapping into. Well, that's a problem that I choose to take up as a challenge for my lifetime, that I would find a way to tap into, harness, and utilize 100% of my brain, to the zillionth degree. That's what I was thinking along that. I had these pages I was thinking on a daily basis as an affirmation to key into my consciousness, to key into my mind. I was thinking 0%, 1%, etc., 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 right? So then I redesigned that idea, I condensed it, I confined it, and I came up with a modernized, ultra-modernized version. So here it is restated in the present. Behind the goal to harness and tap into 100% of my brain's full potential. And everything it's attached to, I realized, was a desire to feel the most intense, pleasant sensations possible in this lifetime, to have days and nights which move continuously from within my dreams, wherein I'm lucid and experiencing the gradations of positive states of being, environments, situations, and the full spectrum of sensational pleasures, outward to external reality, which reflects and mirrors that inner world of metaphorical symbols and sensational experiences. I believe that I can master myself and commune with the omniverse in this lifetime to such an extent that I can experience the pleasures of perfect health and having all that I need and desire in some forms, and ultimately experience the sensations of a vibrational state that I created. Ultra naturally pleased, ultra supremacy. I'm sure you can get a feel for that. I believe this is the will of the zillion dimensioned omniverse executed through my life, which adds value to all that exists. So that's the modern form of deification, right? And for me, seeding this idea, you got to realize that I've been reading these concepts morning, noon, and night, and studying these concepts of the whole continuum of the full electromagnetic spectrum for my whole adult life, based on that idea of trying to figure out how to bring resolution to Einstein's problem or challenge. I like to think of it as a challenge that he put to us, that if we were only using 8% to 12% of our brain's potential or our capacity, then that meant everything else that's connected to that, including the soul and the spirit. It's all connected. It's all interwoven, right? It's all interdependent. It's an interdependent matrix. Okay? So, yeah, I wasn't going to actually share the plan, but there's no reason that you can't share the plan, so you can have an idea of where you are going to choose to aim for your end game, right? So the plan, 1, take time to review and interpret any recalled dreams. You should do that. That's just it's a big portion of your life you spend, for those of us who actually have the means to rest, and rest in a bed comfortably, and have time to dream and to relax. You should take that time to make some suggestions about remembering your dreams, telling yourself literally before going into dreamland or before resting, not to just go to sleep and be an animal, but you have a consciousness, you have a soul, you have a spirit. You should utilize all those things. How do you do that? By telling yourself consciously, I am remembering my dreams. I am lucid within my dreams. I am conscious within my dreams. I'm aware that I am dreaming. This is a dream and I am aware that I'm dreaming. You tell yourself that over and over again, as many nights as it is necessary, until you begin remembering your dreams, right? So then when you are remembering those dreams and you're waking up in the beginning of the morning, you're not opening your eyes, you're not moving around, that shakes you out of the wavelength, because you're on brainwave frequencies. You're during this time that we're looking at now, and when we're wide awake, we're talking about this is beta, we're alert, right? So that's a frequency. And then when you lay your head down on the pillow, you begin to relax, you begin to breathe more deeply, you hit into alpha, right? That's a state in between beta and the other deeper states that you experience where you have these dreams, right? So you're entering alpha as you're laying down on the pillow, and then as you get a little further and further, you enter delta, you enter theta, you enter gamma, you enter lambda. These mind states, these frequencies, these vibrations allow you to tap into and harness more of your potential. right? So if you're trying to tap into 100% of your brain's potential, you're trying to tap into 1,000,000% of the being that you've been given, you got to conceive of it as a zillion different dimensions. That's what you're talking about, the electromagnetic spectrum. You're talking about every single direction, all time, all space. That's what the here and now is. It is all those things. It is not just it is not either the past or the present or the future. It is all three combined continuously, right? That's the moment, that's definitive, that's decisive, that's something you can say that you do know to be true. It's an accurate fact. It just is. You can be absolutely certain about that, right? So you wanna design your plan while you're still in bed, right? That's the time to create. So you're creating this vibration from bed that's gonna make up the rest of the day. You're setting the tone for your own day, for your own destiny, for the day, tomorrow, and into the future, right? You decide what that is. You gotta give it a narrative. I've already told you what that narrative. Now, for these bunkers, we're talking about vivos. There's a variety of those. We got some in India, we got some in Germany, we got some in South Dakota, we got some in Indiana, excuse me, and they are hardened, secure bunkers, right? Most of them are underground. These things are made to survive any cataclysm, any crisis, anything that you can think of or we've conceived of in Hollywood movies, they have an answer for, okay? That's what we're talking about. Alright, we're not going to mind we knew people were going to come here, so we're just going to go back to the plan, right? I will state it for you so you have an idea of what plan we're talking about. So we don't become discombobulated. I'm going to stay on track. Alright, take time to review and interpret any recalled dreams. Decree number 2. Decree with emotionalized belief. You have to put some verve into it. If you're just saying these affirmations as blah, 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 then that's what you're going to get back. No risk, no reward. The amount of energy, concentration that you put into the moment, with emphasis, with emotion, is how you create magic, right? Magic is created by sending out a vibration that has an emotional impact. You're not going to have an emotional impact if you're speaking like a blah, blah, blah. Okay, so number 2, decree with emotionalized belief that your chief aim is already accomplished in the present. Now, you're not looking into the future as that's procrastination. When you put your affirmations and you say, I will do a thing, you're talking about something you're never going to get done. You're saying to yourself in the present, I am doing a thing. I am a thing. Magic is about saying, in the present tense, I am a thing. Whatever that thing is, anything that you can conceive of that you can say, you can attach an I am to, you can say, I am sky. I am water. I am wind. I am spirit. Whatever it is that you choose, you put yourself on that frequency, you're beginning to resonate in that wavelength, all right? So think about it that way. You're not just a body, you're not just consciousness, you're whatever you say that you are in the moment. Whatever you're paying your attention to, whatever energy you're putting your attention into, whether it's predominantly negative, predominantly neutral, or predominantly positive, that's the thing that you're aligned with, right? So we want to decree with emotionalized belief your chief aim accomplished in the present, at the beginning, middle, and end of every single day, until you manifest whatever it is that you decided to manifest, right? So these vibrations will eventually set the subconscious to manifest your will. So you're putting yourself in these vibrations, right? And once you're in that sheet of vibrations, all of creation begins to coordinate itself musically, harmonically, to your will, right? So you're the one that's setting the course for your destiny. Okay. For me, my number 3, obviously I told you we're talking about thinking and grow rich, because originally that was like an American goal. It's a capitalist society. I was thinking about, I want to be rich, I want to have a lot of money, man. So I was thinking, all right, read the Think and Grow Rich declarations at the beginning and end of every day until they're completely memorized. That was actually the money consciousness plan that we spoke about before. Number 4, do whatever it takes, using all available means to gain continuity of income. If you're thinking about resources, not just money, you're talking about a continuous inflow of whatever it is that you want and need in the here and now, continuously. So some people, they think that they have to work for a certain period of time, they have to play for a certain period of time, and that they will get, sometimes they have an inflow, sometimes that influx, but no, like, because you're alive right now, you're continuously transmitting and continuously receiving. You're continuously transmitting, continuously receiving. As above, so below, and that's what makes up what's inside in the core. All right. Do hourly reality dream checks. So you're telling yourself the way you want to be able to recognize your dreams when you're dreaming in order to become lucid is on a daily basis. You're going to tell yourself, I put mine on my watch. My watch actually reminds me, it has a little buzz and it says, it asks this question, am I dreaming? Am I awake? I have a coin that actually says that on both sides, right? You can get one of those as a dream talisman. If you Google it, dream talisman, the first company that comes up, it has on one side, it has the sun on one side, and if you flip it over on the other side, it has the moon and like maybe the tree of life or something like that. It asks you that question. It's like a totem from the movie Inception, right? Spin it. So, I'm not going to advise that you need to get a totem, but what you do need to do is do reality dream checks. Do reality dream checks. So if you're in reality, like per hour, you're saying to yourself, just at the top of the hour, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 1 o'clock, or 12 o'clock. Am I dreaming? You just ask yourself that consciously while you're awake. Am I dreaming? Am I awake? Look around with your senses. Feel out. Try to use telekinesis. Try to teleport yourself through a wall. Obviously, if you teleport yourself through a wall, you're going to realize this is a dream, right? Unless you're so advanced in vibration that somehow that's an ability that you recruit. They say that that's true, that there are people, entities walking around, I believe that it's true, who have supernatural, miraculous, magical power, right? I believe that. I'm one. So do that once per hour until you find yourself in a dream. You're in your dream. It's a fabulous thing. You can do anything you can conceive of in a dream. And then the strange thing is when you initially have that ability, you become lucid in a dream, you get so excited, your heart starts to pump. Your real heart, your real body, that wakes you up. The adrenaline starts coursing through your body. You've created this chemical, this vibration in your body. Your body's like, oh, that feels so exciting. And then bang, your consciousness shoots back into your body, right? So you do that until you actually gain that continuity. I feel like I should take a break just in case the battery runs out or whatever. So we'll cut right here and we'll continue on in the next video.